Look what came in the mail yesterday. Melt Cosmetics sent over their new eyeshadow. Remember, I'm getting better. Each day is better, but you're going to still hear a little bit of wheezing. But they sent over their new eyeshadow bases. Let me swatch them. I'm just going to go darkest to lightest. So they have a black one. Just make sure I'm grabbing the right one. I'm pretty sure that's it. I like how they did different colors, and they do dry down. So you could wear them alone. But they stayed tacky enough. I've already played around with them. They stayed tacky enough to use as an eyeshadow base. So I like that. But I also like that it does dry down, especially if you're kind of just starting out. Okay, then there's a really nice chocolatey one. Ooh, look at that difference. Ooh, nice. You could do such a pretty chocolate smoky eye with this one. Okay, then they have this one. I'm so excited for these. Ooh, that's gonna be a really pretty eye look. I'm excited for that. That could be so pretty and bronzy. And then there's this one closer to my skin tone. And last but not least, they also did a white one, which I just love that they did a white one and a black one that I cannot open. There we go. I'm weak. Just look at how pigmented they are. And when I'm saying pigmented, there's just no patchiness. They're so even with the application. We're going to use one today. I thought I really want to do something kind of wearable blue. I know, I told y'all. We're still going to do a bronzy look later this week, and I'm just so excited that I have these bases to inspire me. But I still want to do kind of a really classic neutral crease and then kind of a powdery blue. We'll see where we go. But I need to go get my water. I'm wheezing. So since I have all of these bases, I'm just going to grab, first I'm going to grab this one. I want to teach you how to use multiples if you want to. I'm going to be using these nonstop. So don't worry about if you don't want to use a bunch. First thing I want to do is kind of just lightly, trying to find a C31, there's one. Lightly kind of cover up my freckle here. Look at how nice they are. They blend perfectly. And again, they stay tacky for a nice amount of time, but then they also dry down. Ooh, I do have a good idea. It just came to me. The ideas come to me. Just so you know, I usually just have a color in mind. The rest of it I'm absolutely winging, pun intended. And again, we're just having fun. You do not need to get all of these eyeshadow bases. That's never the point here. But since I have them, I want to kind of give you ideas. I'm going to take the white one. And the reason I put it here instead of here, because I don't want too much of it. And I'm going to put that on my brow bone to really brighten it up. I'm using a C31. And then just melt it into that other base. Look at how that lifts. Isn't makeup fun? Just tiny little things like that. And then if, say you didn't want this bright of a brow bone, you could just put your powder foundation on top of this and it's still going to lift without being so extreme. I like the extreme. We can all like different things. It's makeup, it's fun. But if you put this on and you're like, I'm not feeling that today, just put some powder foundation and it's still gonna glow through and keep that lift. So I just thought of something. You know how I was mentioning putting the powder foundation on top of that? You could kind of do an under highlighting even with your makeup throughout with something like this because it completely dries down and it won't mix into your makeup. That I really have a fun idea for that. So I'm gonna do a video on that. Not right now, I'm not leaving you right now. But I just sometimes just sitting down here and just playing in makeup, I still get so inspired and I just love it. I have some fun ideas now. And then I wanna use which one is this one? It'll be this color. We're using that one. And I thought I would just put it here and here. Stay with me, I know. Oh gosh. I promise this isn't gonna be as wild. Like I said, it's gonna be pretty in the realm of neutrals with a pop of pastel bright blue in the center. I love the way these blend and melt in. Bring it out this way. I kind of want to do a little wing today too. And then since the brush is sloped, excuse me, I'm gonna link the brush, but we can just use kind of what's left and connect it here while leaving our lid space clean. Now, I'm not going to worry about blending this out because I am going to add eyeshadow on top, but I will say that these blended out beautifully. I could have blended it more, absolutely, but again, I still want to put eyeshadow on top. But as eyeshadow themselves, because you can use them as both, 10 out of 10. So I always forget that we're all starting a makeup journey, some of us are. So what dry down means is transfer proof so they don't move. And I'm just using the back of my hand because my hand here is kind of sticky. They don't move. Once they dry down, they stay in place. All right, I'm gonna grab this shade. I love this palette, by the way. I took it with me while I was traveling and I just didn't stop using it. So I'm gonna push that into my socket. Don't worry about the lid space. We can always come back and clean that up. I don't want you to feel like you really need to be super careful around that area. You really don't. So I'm pushing that more towards the top and just ever so lightly transitioning that. The warmth from the base is still going to peek through, but I like the idea of kind of mixing the cool with the warm. And then I'm going to pick up, actually I'm going to wipe this on Sheila, and then I'm going to pick up this shade. And that's going to go on my brow bone. So smooth. Look at that difference. So I don't know if y'all have seen, but there is a video by a creator, and I absolutely love the video, but we all have different techniques. It's where you bake your eyeshadow. And to me, I feel that the technique that I teach you here, I'm not even done blending, but you can see how smooth my lid looks. Okay, my lids are obviously, I'm getting older. I'll be 36 this year. These are not 20-year-old eyelids. But that being said, I don't think I'm going to recommend the baking because it does kind of get everywhere, especially around contacts. In the eye, it'll get back on your mascara. If you come across the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a tried and true technique. I'm not putting the technique down. What I'm saying is I just prefer a different technique to achieve the same results. But try the technique for yourself if you do see the video. I never want you to just feel like, oh, Rose is the only way, because it's not true. It's not. We each have a different technique, things that work for us. We're also different, and that's still one of the things that just fascinates me about makeup. But a lot of you wanted to know what I thought about it, and it's just not something I would do. I prefer the exact method that I taught today because it just gives me the most smooth, even blended application every single time. Tapping is key. Tapping. It basically does the transition for you. Now I'm going to grab an E29 and I'm going to grab this shade while Jean absolutely snores. I'm going to grab it on the tip of the brush, again, so I can just cover more ground and kind of finish up this transition here. I'll let you listen to Jean while I do this. Picked up more for my other eye. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this shade. Oop, wrong one. Just wipe it on Sheila. This one, the matte one. And kind of finish this up over here. Now to just make sure that we get extra pop, I'm going to go ahead and clean off the center of my lid with some micellar water in my C30. Don't worry about it being blended. The only thing we do want to do is just make sure that it dries down. But this micellar water, it dries so quickly, already dry. Now, if you ever want to make a pastel pop, you're going to grab white. You're just going to do that. You got to. Perfect. Let me make sure that oh, there she is. I don't know how she got over there. Oh, I do now. Just wipe it off a little bit. And now we're just going to tap this on. Isn't this fun? We're actually almost done with the eye too. Look at how pigmented that is. I love how it stays so pigmented. Does not get patchy in any way. I say that because sometimes whites, they can get a little patchy. I want it brightest in the center and then kind of fade it. That's what I'm doing. I'm transitioning and feathering it towards the outer part. This is the color I had in mind. This little pastel palette is from Makeup, and I love these. These are always right next to me. And I'm just gonna pack that on my lid. No, Jean, not a bath. Ooh, that's pretty. And then I'll add a little bit more depth in just a second on the outer parts here. I love it. And whenever you want a color to be extremely intense, you'll notice that I used a larger brush and I used a flatter brush, but I used something that's still gonna pick up a lot of color. I'm grabbing a C30 to kind of show you. For shimmers, when you're placing them, you don't want quite as much on the brush, so that's why I reach for this. Also, shimmers just pick up differently than a soft matte like this. So with a soft matte, you want a little bit fluffier brush, something that's really going to grab, but then also deposit. So that's why I reach for the E28. So I thought I would just show you again, grab it, and I pick up a lot of the product because I wanted to show very true. But then since the base is still tacky, I'm not gonna have a ton of fallout, but I just get intense color. Isn't that fun? And that's called packing, in case you were wondering. We're really packing that color onto the base, setting the base, but then also kind of reaping the benefits of it being a little wet, which brightens. Makeup is fun. I just remembered it's Tea Room Tuesday. Every Tuesday we order from our local tea room and I get a cucumber sandwich. I'm so excited. I haven't been home in like 2 weeks, so I haven't had my Tea Room Tuesday. I'm literally about to put in my order right now. Now, you could also kind of get a lighter effect even with an E28. I'm gonna wipe off the blue. Ooh, cucumber sandwich sounds so good. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade, right? Just a little tiny tap. And I'm just going to lightly tap this just to kind of melt it into the sides of the blue. And the difference there is I didn't pick up as much. Remember how I really loaded up the brush? This way, one more little tap, I can just lightly kind of transition it into the blue. I want the center to be the brightest. See that difference? That's what I want. I want the center to be the brightest, and then I want the outer part to be shaded. I'm gonna do a brown wing today. This one's from Stila. This is just the micro liner one. Good, the bath is over down there. Now we're just back to snoring. I love this eye look so much. It just kind of glows. I feel like this is such a fun way to wear blue eyeshadow. And then I'm gonna put on my full moon lashes. Just let them get acquainted. Should have wiped down my lash applicator there first. My fault. Okay, now I'm just gonna make sure that they're kind of in the center, and then I'm gonna leave them alone for about 10 seconds. Then I'm gonna grab them on the outer part, kind of get them really close to the lash line. Then we're gonna give it a nice wipe again. It's really important because even though it didn't look like we got glue, we might have, and then that could rip the whole thing off. Ripping sounds scary. It's not gonna hurt, but we could kind of just mess up everything and the lash will come off and then it's just chaos. Oh, how dare. I shut my door and Doug can't get back in. All right, now leave that alone. And then right before this completely dries, see how you can still see it? We don't want to touch it. We don't want to touch it. We want that to be transparent, completely see-through. We don't want to, before we get back in here and clamp, we need that to dry. All right, now it's dry. Now we can clamp this, and I'm clamping my natural, my natural lashes into the falsie. And then I still have an entire lash tutorial on my saved highlights. And then I'm just gonna push them upwards. Okay, I'll be back in a little while. I gotta go pick up my little cucumber sandwich, and then I have to eat my cucumber sandwich, and then I'll be back. Yes, I'll be back. Whew, just had a little coughing spell there. Whew, whew. I'm trying to recover here. We can finish this. We can do it. By the way, my cucumber sandwich was delightful when I wasn't coughing at it. Okay, so remember how I had the Fenty Beauty foundation? I'm gonna finish this. Well, the shades I had were too light, so I went and bought this shade, and it's perfect. At least it was perfect when I swatched it. Who knows what's happened between now and then? Let's take a gander. Yep. That'll blend down perfectly. Looking great. I'm a little bit extra red because of the coughing fits. I'm not looking for sympathy. I am just letting you know, because y'all are so observant. you'll be like, why are you so red? What is this? Why do you sound like that? And I'll be like, y'all, I'm just trying to tell y'all. I used to try to not, you know, tell y'all things and burden y'all. I don't want y'all to be burdened in any way. But then y'all got so observant that I literally can't even hide anything. So you're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm wheezing for no reason. But I am much better, but still, I'm going to try not to just continue to talk too much. But if you've wondered why I've started to tell y'all, it's because y'all figure it out anyways. Anyways, the match is perfect. And I really love the formula. Love, love, love the formula. This one is a more dewy formula, but I don't feel like it feels wet. I don't want you to be afraid of it. Even if you're oily, I don't feel like it's a formula that is too dewy. It's really not. Now remember, I have on skin prep for my skin type, which is balanced to dry. So I'm always going to look a little, we'll just say what some people on the internet that are very mean would say oily. But I'm really just properly prepped for my skin type. But with the right skin prep, I even think that a combination oily skin type could wear this. I really, really like it. I was able to wear it even when I corrected it. I was using it and correcting it. So I've been able to wear it about 10 hours. It wore beautifully. I will say, now obviously once I get everything on, it is going to match better, but it just feels that brands still lean very warm. I feel like my Kosas concealer will look really nice with this formula since they're both pretty dewy. I feel like they will play really nicely together. Let's give you a little tip. Of course I can. So even with the wand, and I don't normally struggle with this, but if you're still struggling with creasing, what can happen is the wand, I'm so sorry. Hang on, I need a little sippy sip. My eyes are watering. What can happen is the wand still deposits it a little unevenly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our C30 and I'm just gonna smooth this out. When things are smoothed out, they wear so much better. And I know we're thinking, oh, an extra step. It really doesn't take that long, I promise you. And it's so worth it because I would rather take 30 seconds longer and have perfect, smooth, even, long-wearing concealer than to just throw something on and then it betray me later. Also, you need to be signing up for emails so you don't miss something that's coming. It's coming sooner than you think, actually. So you need to make sure that you're signed up for emails. So I want to go a little bit warmer with my bronzer today. I'm going to grab this one from LYS. It's extremely warm, but that's what I want. And it's also wildly pigmented, which is a really good thing, but I highly recommend doing what I just did and or putting it on the back of your hand. That's all I would need for the rest of my face. That might actually be too much for the rest of my face. So I'm going to just grab from here and then warm this up. I feel that sometimes we think things are too pigmented, but that just means, really, it just means it's more inclusive. So we don't look at things and go, oh, it's too pigmented. It's either not for our skin tone, or we just kind of do a workaround like what I'm doing. Directly on my face, that would be a lot of pigment. So we're just doing our nice little workaround. And then I want to put this blush on, but I want to film a first impression video of it because it's kind of cool. I bought this on Amazon. I mean, not on Amazon, on IG shop. And it looks like nail polish, but it's obviously a blush. Do not put nail polish on your face. But I want to film a video with it. So I'm not going to have blush at the end. I'm going to go ahead and set. I'm using my Givenchy powder. I haven't used it in a while. Ooh, it's still so good. I love it. I feel like it's the perfect amount of brightening for every day. And then I highly recommend taking a bronzer, any bronzer, just one close to the shade. I'm going to use this one for Makeup Forever. It was just close to me. And instead of setting with powder, set your bronzer with bronzer. That way it stays very true. And you even get a little bit more coverage. Sometimes when we set with our loose powders, and even powders close to our skin tone, even translucent, they can kind of turn our bronzers and our blushes, everything a little too gray. So just think of this as your setting powder, but it's your bronzer. Now I'm going to take one of the eyeshadow bases. This is the shade Nudist. I'm just going to do a little dot right here in the center because these are really, really pigmented. Ooh, that's kind of cool looking. I'm going to blend it. I know I get wild very quickly. And then I'm going to take this and my E27 and just tap it back and forth. See how pigmented they are? I should do a baby blue waterline. I haven't coughed in about, I don't know, 5 minutes. This might be a record. So Marc Jacobs Beauty used to have the prettiest blue liner, but then Marc Jacobs Beauty went away, and that was very sad. But this one from Estee Lauder, this is Estee Lauder, right? I'm 99.9% sure. It is. I love it. This particular shade, and the other end is a nice navy blue. I love it so much. So y'all been wanting to know how I kind of do this stain blur situation lip. I got a lot of requests on it. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So notice that I have foundation on my lips right now. I'm actually going to just see if there's any left on my brush. Okay, we want that. We want it. So the reason we have that foundation on is I don't want this to stain too bright. I don't want it to stain too neon. We want it to look like a stain, okay? We do. But sometimes if we just put this directly on our lips, it gets so neon bright. And the particular shade I'm using is 104. And then in that particular video, I know I was wearing this Mauve Beauty lip liner. This is their, I think it's their newest launch. I think it might still be their newest launch. I'll get you a link. And then I usually put this on top. I love this. This is from Ortega, and it's beautiful. It's shiny, and it just looks so good on top of the stain and that lip liner. There you have it. But then I'll take my lip liner, and I like to just continue to take the glossiness to the edges. There you go. The trick is to have it stain, but not be too bright. And then your actual lip color kind of peeks through. You'll see it with back camera, because the thing I just screenshot, that's back camera. Sorry, I had to chop this up. Still getting better. I am getting better, but it's still a recovery process. Bronchitis is no joke. So just really quickly, apparently I recently over the last 2 years have asthma. So allergies then agitate the asthma. The post-nasal drip, sorry to gross you out, goes into my chest. My chest just refuses to heal. Then it gets more inflamed, and it's just 3 weeks of nonstop coughing. And a lot of you are saying that you have had similar symptoms, and I am so sorry. I sympathize, because just until last 3 nights or so, I've finally been able to get sleep. So I'm thinking of y'all too. Y'all are thinking of me, and I'm thinking of y'all. I love y'all, and I am so sorry any of you have had anything close to this. And I love y'all. I love you so much. I'm going to post something really fun tonight. I think I want to post a color theory video. It's going to be really, really cool. It's about blue powder. So I'm going to set a reminder. I'm going to post it tonight at 7. It's going to involve blue powder, y'all. Blue powder. You don't want to miss it. It's fun. All right. I love you so much, and I will see you later in the comments.